Bryan Savoy is a licensed forester in the state of Maine with nearly 30 years of experience in forest operations, wood procurement, and forest products marketing. Bryan has worked with both industrial landowners and small woodlot owners across Maine and draws on broad and diverse experience in the forest products industry. He began his forestry career in Vermont, managing logging crews and working as a forest technician before returning to Maine in the year 2000. Over the years, he has held key roles with McPherson Timberlands, Plum Creek Timber Company, and Dirigo Timberlands. Since 2014, Bryan has been with Sappi, where he now works as the lead wood buyer for the Somerset Mill in Skowhegan, managing open market pulpwood and sawmill residual chip procurement. Bryan holds a BS in forestry from the University of Maine, and in his free time, Bryan enjoys skiing, hiking, and exploring Maine's lakes with his family. Bryan?
Excellent. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, everyone. I felt it was important that Sappi spoke today, so when I got the invitation, I immediately reached out to our engineers at the mill because I feel that they could do a lot better job than I could. But I'm going to do the best I can, so bear with me. I'm a wood guy, but let's get started. So first we're going to talk about our global overview of Sappi, who we are, where we're located, then our journey here so far, current state of operations, where we're at, and finally we're going to talk about PM2, Project Elevate. So, we're kind of a mid to large size paper company. We produce about 4.6 million tons of paper. Our capacity is about 2.3 million tons of paper pulp capacity. We produce about 1.5 million tons of dissolving pulp. We're one of the biggest dissolving pulp suppliers globally here. We employ about just a little over 11,000 people globally as well. EBITDA margin is about 12.5%. Sales last year in 2024 were about $5.45 billion. We service over 150 countries. We also have 7 different R&D centers located globally. Our main one here in North America is in Westbrook. We have 3 in Europe and 3 in South Africa as well. So looking at North America, our assets here, we got 4 major assets. We got a 5th asset down in Allentown, Pennsylvania. That's our sheeting facility. But starting with a cloquet mill, we do, this is all metric tons. We do about 800 metric tons of capacity at our cloquet mill, U.S. tons, standard tons. Half of that roughly is coated paper. The other half of that is dissolving pulp. Employ about 700 people there. Looking at Somerset, Somerset is our flagship mill globally. U.S. tons, just over 1 million tons of paper, about 750 employees. At Westbrook Mill down next to Portland, that's a specialty mill, about 23,000 tons of the casting release paper that we do down there. And then our latest acquisition was in 2019, the Matan Mill in Quebec. It's just a pulp mill. It's a BTCMP mill that is used to supply Somerset basically with pulp and some of our European mills. There is some open market pulp that's sold out of Matan as well. So looking at our investment through the years, since about 2012, we've had about 17 different capital investments, mostly in Cloquet and Somerset, including the acquisition in Matan in 2019. But starting, just focusing on Somerset, in 2017, we did do about a $30 million upgrade to our wood room. And then moving forward a little bit, you can see that we upgraded our PM1 machine to handle packaging paper. And then finally, it's actually our biggest capital investment globally at $418 million is the PM2 project, which is ongoing right now. That investment from 2017 to now to the PM2 project is about $750 million, so a huge investment in the state of Maine. Talking a little bit about our R&D and our research facilities. Again, we have 7 located globally. Really a lot of expertise. We got about 55 scientists, 30% holding PhDs. So a lot of energy and a lot of focus on developing new products, especially in the biomaterials realm of things. We come from good stock, so to speak. So we're originally an S.D. Warren company. S.D. Warren actually first invented the coated paper back in 1879, revolutionized the paper industry. So we've been able to take, those patents have expired, obviously, but we've been able to take a lot of their ideas and run with them, so to speak. So talking a little bit about some of our products here in North America, dissolving pulp, a big part of what we do in the cloquet mill. Then we have the graphics paper. It's really the backbone of our business and continues to be. Even though we're switching gears more into packaging, graphics is always going to be a big part of what we do, especially in Europe and in North America. Of course, there's the packaging and specialty business. We do see a decline in the graphics, obviously, so we're really starting to focus on the packaging side of things. Casting release is our Westbrook mill, focusing a lot of our R&D research on the biomaterial side of things. And of course, we got a forestry program both in South Africa and here in Maine and Cloquet. So talking a little bit about, a little more detail about some of our products here. We'll start off with the dissolving pulp. Our dissolving pulp brand is Verve. It's basically a cotton substitute, so it's used in the textile business. Textile, non-wovens, pharmaceuticals. Most of the pharmaceutical grade and foodstuff grade is made in South Africa. Primarily what we make in the Cloquet mill here goes in the textile. Graphics paper, of course, everybody knows graphics paper. Magazines, a lot of brochures, a lot of direct mailings, still a major part of our business. Packaging paper. So this is where we're really focusing our energy. Again, 2018, we upgraded PM1. Now we're going to basically build a new machine is what we're doing with Project Elevate on PM2. PM2, stepping back a little bit, PM1 can flop between both graphics and coated, packaging. PM2 is strictly going to be a packaging grade machine. Specialty papers, so this is basically, there's a lot of words here, but this is basically label papers. So this is labels that go on corrugated cardboard or canned goods, that kind of stuff. This product was mostly made on our PM2 machine, the old PM2 machine. So with PM2 now going to container board, these products will be carouseled to PM3. Casting release paper. Again, a smaller part of our business, but a very important part of our business. Focused pretty much in Westbrook there. It's kind of unique. It's like a mold almost. So it is designed, engraved basically, to make the patterns on different things, including sports gear, shoes, dashboards of vehicles, and the paper can be used over and over. That's why it's called release paper. It makes the pattern, it's released off the synthetic leather, and then the pattern is there. Oops, sorry. Moving forward here, we're going to be looking at Somerset. I'm sure that's where everybody's interested here. So just a little bit of history. Pulp mill started in 1975 on a 2,400 acre greenfield site. It's up to over 3,000 acres now. We continue to expand the area as we grow. 3 world-class paper machines were installed by 1991, all coated machines. We're fully integrated water, waste treatment, and power. We've got about 750 employees on site. 75% are union, hourly, 25% are salary. So just stepping back here a little bit, FY18 was our first step into the container board market. And we broke through that market. It was a little tough getting started, but we have proven ourselves, so to speak, and that's why we're doing Project Elevate now, moving forward. Daily operations, we're a big facility, as everybody knows. We receive about 450 trucks a day. Most of that is in the form of fiber and wood and biomass. 50 rail cars, that's primarily pulp that we use. We have 100 contractors on site typically, plus or minus to support operations. We consume about 2.8 million tons of wood and chips, biomass, and about 200,000 tons of non-fiber materials. So that'd be our chemicals, latex, starch, that kind of stuff. Again, we deliver, again, that's metric tons, a little bit over 1 million tons of paper. Little shout out to our procurement team. So our offices are on North Avenue there in Skowhegan. There's about 25 members of our team. Most of that is our forestry staff, but that also includes the management, myself, Bryan McAvoy, and Charlie Hall, who manages our stumpage program. We also have a lot of our back-end accounting folks that work out of that office, not only for Somerset, but for Cloquet and Matan as well. Matan Wood Procurement also reports to the North Avenue office. So even though it's a pretty big wood procurement office, it supports pretty much North America. So again, we invested back in 2018 about $200 million in upgrading our PM1 machine. That's a picture of PM1 right there when it was complete. Big, huge project. It was called Project Balance. Now that that was successful, we've broken ourselves in the market. We've gained a lot of market share. We're moving into PM2 now. So, you know, what we see is the future for us anyhow. We've had to continually adapt as the graphics market continues to decline. It's roughly about 6% a year. We've had to figure out what we're going to do. And we're pretty lucky that Sappi, globally, Sappi Limited has chosen Maine to do this, and I think there's several reasons why. But PM2, $418 million investment, basically replacing 80% of the machine. We're adding 22 full-time people. It's going to double the size of the machine, over double the size of the production on the machine. So it's basically like putting a fourth machine at Somerset. Supports our future and our strategy here going forward as we look ahead, as more people get away from single-use plastics and really want to, you know, a sustainable product. For the mill and for Sappi in general, it enhances operational flexibility. We still have the opportunity to do coated paper, labeling, and more packaging. And it puts us at the forefront. Our technology that we're putting here puts us ahead of our competition. A lot of our competition has a lot older technology. So a little bit, why are we doing this? We see that, kind of explained this already, but we've seen this is where the growth is, and we're moving forward to take advantage of that. A lot of demand, a lot of strong demand, proven ourselves in the market, so to speak. So we broke through the market, got a lot of our customers on board with what we were doing, and they really liked the consistency and the quality of our product. So this was a huge undertaking, 3-year project basically, started back in the fall of 22. We needed a lot of support from a lot of different players, a lot of engineering firms, a lot of construction contractors, concrete contractors. So there's more than 24 folks here that we had to partner with to get this done. It's basically a Valmet machine, but some of the parts were made all over the world. So I'm going to try to go chronologically on how Project Elevate, you know, the time frame on it started back in the fall of 22. We basically had to build the new machine next to the old machine and keep the old machine running. Basically, we didn't want to interrupt operations. We just couldn't afford to. But the first step was that this machine's got 3 sections of rolls longer, so it's about 200 feet longer than the current machine. So we had to extend the back end of the mill, basically. So this was kind of the first stage of that, is expanding that. So that's off the back end of the paper machine. That is the extension where the winder's going to go. It's on top of the finishing and shipping area and the warehouse area. There it is, complete. And just a little scale for everyone here. Boeing 47, big plane, right? 250 feet long. 400 instruments. Project Elevate PM2, this upgrade, is about 800 feet long and about 1,870 instruments. So a lot of technology. Empire State Building. I think the Empire State Building, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, is probably about 1,500 feet high. Foundation, 210 columns, 55 feet deep. The Elevate Foundation, 205 columns, 80 feet deep. Big, big machine. So the next process was, well, we needed to put a winder in, a new winder. So this is an 80-ton crane lifting the new winder into place. This goes on the back end of the machine. You can see that PM2 is still running. So this was kind of the first thing that we needed to install. Here it is installed, and as soon as it was installed, we began using it. So the old machine was actually using the back end of the new machine, the new winding machine. We also had to expand the warehouse area. So this is about 70,000 square feet of new warehouse space that we completed about 2 years ago. We also need water, a lot of water. In the paper making process, we use a lot. So one of the next big projects was a 1 million gallon tank set on the wet end of the machine. So this is the front end of the machines where we could store excess water in the paper making process. So as we're doing all these little projects around PM2 while it's still functioning in the other two machines, there was a lot of other parts of the mill that had to be upgraded as well. That included the warehouse, which we just talked about, finishing shipping, goes along with the warehouse area. We talked about the 1 million gallon water tank. Utilities, we needed a lot more steam. We had the power, we had the boilers on site, but we needed to get the steam more steam over to the paper mill side of things. So that was like one of the first projects we did as well. Coating and additives, this is going to use a lot more coating, obviously. So we had to expand that whole part of the mill as well. The pulp furnishing was a big part of this. I guess I'm going to address this now. Everybody asked me, okay, are we going to be using more wood? Unfortunately, we're not going to be using more wood. We are maxed out at our digester, so our pulp mill is at full capacity. We really can't expand it anymore. Over the past several years, we've expanded as much as possible. We expanded the wood room as well. We got away from external chipping plants and are producing all of our wood chips on site for the most part. So we're going to need to rely on pulp, and that's why we bought the Matan mill. That Matan mill, all that pulp basically is destined for Somerset once we get everything going. So that was a big part of it. Also a dewiring line we've had to put in. So the pulp that comes in, it's baled, you got to take the wires off. So a lot of work that's actually still going on right now in the pulp furnishing area. So let's fast forward here a little bit. This is January, so the end of January is when we started demolition of the machine. This is the press end of the machine. So you got the wet end back here, and then the next section is the press where it actually squeezes the water out of the web. You can see we're taking that part. The new machine is right there. That's the new press. So they had assembled it basically on site next to PM2 as it's running, and we're basically going to pick it up and set it in. So there's the new press. A lot of technology here. It's a 2-shoe press. This was actually manufactured in India. Our engineers went to India, saw it built, so they actually assembled it in India, took it apart. There was 215 shipping containers that they filled and brought it back to Somerset and reassembled it. This is a save-all. This is part of the water tank, that 1 million gallon tank that I showed here previously. So this goes under the wet end of the machine as water. Like I said, in the paper making processes, there's a lot of water that's squeezed out of the fiber. This sits underneath the wet end of the machine, collects the water and the excess fiber, filters it, and then is reused in the process. The water goes out to the 1 million gallon tank. The fiber is reused. This is demolition of the coater and dryer section. So this is where the paper machine really got expanded. This is where about 200 feet of extra space was needed, so we really had to expand this section of the machine. There's basically 3 new dry roller sections that were installed right here. This is the coating section of the machine. Again, a lot of technology, state of the art. This was a Valmet. This part of it came from Finland. Here's the web cooler. So as the paper comes off the hot rolls, it needs to be cooled for other processing to take place, other coatings to take place. So here again, brand new web cooler, large piece of equipment being installed, and is all in place right now. So that is basically it. I went through the presentation fairly quickly, a lot of information. I do have a quick video if we have time. Short of time. What's that? Okay. So this is the air intake for the cooler. Getting set on top of the paper mill. But it kind of gives a good view of the whole site. So one of the big complications of that project was, as you can see, we have 3 paper machines lined right up, and we're replacing PM2 basically. So last year, we had a large crane, a 500-foot crane that was hoisting all this equipment through the roof, down through. We really didn't want to bring that crane back because it was very expensive while it was on site. So we went with the helicopter route, and it saved quite a bit of money. It was very efficient. So that's all I got. Is there questions?
Questions for Bryan?
Steve?
Bryan, you said the pulp mill is at maximum capacity.
Yeah.
So this creates additional production and would be through purchase pulp and.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're not completely writing off doing something with the digester, but it's very expensive. It's very intensive. We've got a lot of permitting to do if we were going to expand the digester. So at this point in time, purchase pulp seems to be the option for us, and that's why we bought the mill. We're going to be using a lot more material.
Any other questions? Thanks, Bryan.
Perfect. Thank you.